Hello and welcome back to the Deep Dive. If you're joining us today, you are clearly ready to go way beyond the surface. You're not just here for, the basic summary.
Right.
You are here because you want to understand the actual machinery under the hood. So today we are turning our attention to a very specific, incredibly volatile moment in television history.
Extremely volatile.
Yeah. We are cracking open the archives and looking at Breaking Bad, but we aren't just doing some general overview. We are zooming in, really microscope style, on Season 4, Episode 7.
That's right. The episode is titled Problem Dog. And honestly, just that title alone gives you a shiver if you know the context.
Oh, absolutely.
It's evocative.
Yeah.
It's really heavy. It implies something messy, something that just needs to be dealt with.
Definitely. Now, for the learner joining us, let's just set the stage a bit. We need to orient ourselves in time because context is everything with this show.
Right. The timeline is crucial here.
Exactly. So this episode originally aired on August 28th, 2011. It is the 40th overall episode of the series.
And being 40 episodes in, the tension is just, it's suffocating. I mean, this is right in the middle of the fourth season.
Yeah, right in the thick of it.
Critics and fans often argue that this specific stretch of episodes represents the absolute peak of the show's slow burn intensity. We are past the initial setup of the super lab, but we aren't quite at the explosive finale yet.
Right, we're in the pressure cooker.
Exactly. The heat is turned up, the lid is rattling, but it hasn't blown off just yet.
It's that sweet spot of anxiety. And we have some really interesting credits here that are worth noting before we get into the plot itself. This episode was written and directed by Peter Gould.
Which is incredibly significant. I mean, Peter Gould isn't just a hired gun director stepping in for a week. He is a key creative force in this entire universe.
He really is.
He's the writer who introduced Saul Goodman way back in Season 2. He's the guy who later went on to co-create Better Call Saul. So when you see his name as both writer and director, you know you're in for a very specific kind of ride.
You know it's going to be good.
You know it's going to be heavily character-driven, and you know it's going to explore the absurdity and really the tragedy of the criminal life.
So here's our mission for today. We have the source material, we've got the plot summaries, the reception notes, the production details, and the critical analysis.
All of it.
All of it. And we are going to strip this episode down to its bolts. We're going to look at the shifting power dynamics, the crushing weight of guilt, and frankly, the totally bizarre financial logistics of running a meth empire.
And we really have to talk about that title. The metaphor of the problem dog. It is central to understanding Jesse Pinkman's psychology in this hour.
It's the key.
It's the key that unlocks his entire arc for the season, and maybe even for the whole series.
And on the other side of the spectrum, we have Walter White's ego, which I think we can agree is basically becoming its own character at this point.
Oh, without a doubt.
It's growing limbs, it's taking up physical space in the room.
It's volatile. It's dangerous. And in this episode, it creates a literal explosion.
Okay, let's unpack this. I really want to start with what I call the eruption of Walter White, because this episode starts with a bang.
Literally.
Literally.
It does. And what's so fascinating is that it stems from something so mundane.
Right.
A domestic dispute. A simple conversation about a car return.
Yeah, so let's look at the setup. Skyler White, Walter's wife, has negotiated the return of a Dodge Challenger. Now, for context, remind us about this car, because it's not just a car.
No, it's a massive symbol. This is the car Walter bought for his son, Walter Jr. It's a 2009 Dodge Challenger SRT8.
A beast of a car.
A total beast. It is bright red with black racing stripes. It's loud, it's aggressive, and it's very expensive.
And most importantly, to Skyler at least, it absolutely screams drug dealer money.
Exactly. They are supposed to be living on a car wash owner's salary. You cannot explain a $40,000 muscle car to the IRS when you're supposedly just scrubbing tires for a living.
Right, so Skyler takes charge. She puts on her responsible parent hat, or maybe her criminal CFO hat.
Her risk management hat.
Yeah, exactly. She tells Walt, I handled it. I talked to the dealership. You just need to take it back. There's a restocking fee, but it's handled. Just drive it there and hand over the keys.
It's a completely rational move by Skyler. She is the pragmatic force in this criminal enterprise, essentially. She's trying to keep a low profile.
Right.
She's protecting the family from an audit, from suspicion. But Walter perceives this entirely differently.
He doesn't see it as protection, does he? He doesn't see, oh, thank you for saving us from federal prison.
No. He perceives it as an insult.
An attack.
Yeah, an attack. He sees it as Skyler emasculating him. She is taking away his gift to his son. She is taking away his ability to be the provider, which is the central lie he tells himself.
That he does this all for his family.
Right. If he can't give the boy the car, then what is the point of the money?
An insult. It's a declaration of war in his head. So, describe what happens. He gets in the car to return it, but he doesn't just drive it back to the lot and hand over the keys, does he?
No, he doesn't. And this is where we see the absolute petulance of Walter White. He drives the Challenger to a parking lot. He doesn't go to the dealership.
Right.
He goes to a large, empty concrete lot. It's totally isolated. And he just sits there for a second.
And then he starts doing donuts.
Which is such a juvenile, aggressive expression of power. He's burning rubber, spinning this high-performance machine in circles. The tires are screeching. There's thick smoke everywhere.
It's a total tantrum.
It's a tantrum.
Yeah.
It is a middle-aged man screaming, "I am in control," by spinning in circles in an empty parking lot.
Yeah.
It's pathetic, but it's also genuinely terrifying because of the raw rage behind it.
It's visually striking, too. The bright red car, the thick white smoke, the drab gray concrete. But he doesn't just stop at donuts. That would be too simple.
Right.
He crashes it.
He loses control, or perhaps he gains control by losing it intentionally, you could argue, and he strands the car on a concrete parking divider.
Just beaches it.
He essentially beaches this incredibly expensive muscle car. The front fascia is smashed up. The chassis is stuck on the concrete. The rear wheels are just spinning in the air. It is completely stuck.
And here's the part that is just pure chaos. He gets out of the car. He's panting. He's furious. He takes the ownership papers, the literal title to the car.
Yeah.
And what does he do?
He stuffs them into the gas tank. He literally shoves the paperwork into the fuel neck.
He stuffs the papers into the gas tank. He lights a match. He throws it in. And he just walks away.
Boom.
Just like that. A massive fireball in the middle of Albuquerque.
And he doesn't even look back.
Doesn't even flinch. He puts his sunglasses on, or he would if he had them. It's a pure action movie moment, but in the context of this show, it's sheer insanity.
It is a striking visual, but let's look at the actual fallout of this.
Yeah.
Because you can't just blow up a car in a parking lot and walk away scot-free in the real world.
No.
Or even in the Breaking Bad world. There are real consequences. You can't just incinerate a vehicle and expect nobody to ask any questions.
Right. And this is where the criminal tax comes in. The source material notes that Saul Goodman, their lawyer, has to step in and cover this up.
Because you can't have the police investigating why a chemistry teacher blew up a sports car.
Exactly. That leads to questions about mental stability, finances, literally everything.
Saul has to work his magic. He has to bribe people, falsify reports, maybe pay off the lot owner to say it was an electrical fault or something totally ridiculous.
Something to make it go away.
Right. And the cost of this little outburst, the source is very specific.
$52,000.
$52,000.
Yeah.
Let's really sit with that number for a second just to clean up a temper tantrum.
That is more than the median income for a lot of people in the United States.
Easily.
That is a year of work. Hard work for a regular person. That's a down payment on a house. And Walt burns it literally and metaphorically in 5 minutes just because he didn't want to listen to his wife.
It really highlights his complete inability to accept control. If Skyler says return the car, returning the car feels like losing to destroying the car.
Yeah.
That feels like winning.
Even if it costs him $50,000.
He'd rather pay $50,000 to destroy something than $0 to admit Skyler was right.
It's a Pyrrhic victory. It's distinctively Walter White logic.
Yeah.
I will burn my own kingdom down before I let you rule it. It shows how his ego is actually an expense line item in their business now.
Precisely. His ego is the biggest liability they have. But this scene transitions us perfectly to the next segment, which is all about the actual economics of his crime.
Right.
Because right after burning money, he feels this intense need to prove exactly how much he has. He needs to show Skyler that $52,000 is nothing to him. It's pocket change.
So he drops off money to Skyler. He just dumps it on the table. It's his bi-weekly profits. And the number here is staggering.
It is.
He hands her approximately $274,000.
Let's just pause on that math for a second. $274,000. That is every 2 weeks.
It's wild.
That is his take-home pay for cooking meth for Gus Fring.
So if we extrapolate that, let's do the math for you listening, because the scale here is mind-boggling compared to his old teacher's salary.
If you run that out over a year, 26 pay periods, you are looking at an annual income of over $7 million. $7.1 million to be precise.
$7 million a year. From cooking meth in a basement under a commercial laundry, He went from making maybe $45,000 a year teaching high school chemistry to making $7 million.
It's astronomical. It puts him in the realm of professional athletes or CEOs of major corporations. But here is the catch.
Right.
The source specifically mentions Skyler's reaction to this massive pile of cash. She isn't doing a happy dance.
She isn't thrilled. She isn't popping champagne.
No. She is stunned. And she is terrified. She looks at that bag of money like it's a live bomb.
Why? I mean, just playing devil's advocate here, who wouldn't want $7 million? Why is she scared? Is it just the illegality of it?
It's the laundering problem.
Yeah.
She owns a car wash. That is their front business. Now, the car wash is a cash business, which is obviously good for laundering. But there is a limit.
Right.
Imagine trying to explain $7 million in profit through a single generic car wash in Albuquerque.
Yeah, that's a lot of premium wax and air fresheners. You have to fake a lot of car washes to justify that income. You'd need a line of cars stretching all the way to the Arizona border every single day to make the math work.
Exactly. You can't just walk into a bank and deposit it.
Yeah.
You have to create fake receipts, fake customers, dummy ledgers. And the source adds a really great detail here. The money is mostly in $50 bills.
Oh, wow. So physically, that is a lot of paper.
Exactly. It's the physical volume of cash. It's not a number on a screen. It's not a wire transfer from an offshore account. It's piles and piles of paper that you have to somehow make look perfectly legal.
Right.
A stack of 274,000 in 50s is bulky. It takes up a ton of space. Skyler looks at that pile, and she doesn't see financial success. She sees a logistical nightmare.
She sees the work.
She sees hours and hours of counting, hiding, and faking ledgers in the back room.
It's the classic more money, more problems. The cash itself is becoming a massive liability. It's almost like the cash is physical evidence just accumulating in her living room. Where do you even hide that much money? Under the floorboards, in the air vents.
And Walt just drops it there like, look what I did. He doesn't care about the logistics. He leaves the headache entirely for her.
Typical.
He's the producer. She's the launderer. He thinks his job is done the minute the cook is over. It's incredibly arrogant. He creates the mess, whether it's a blown-up car or a mountain of illegal cash, and he just expects everyone else to clean it up.
It's a great juxtaposition. He destroys a car to feel powerful, then dumps money on his wife to feel powerful. But in both cases, he's really just creating massive structural problems for the people around him. Which brings us to the other side of the law. While Walt is creating headaches for Skyler, Hank Schrader is creating headaches for everyone else.
Hank is on an absolute tear in this episode. This brings us to segment 2, the silent war. Hank versus Gus.
Now, Hank has been recovering from his injuries. He was shot multiple times. He's been bedridden. He is not 100% physically. He's walking with a cane. He's clearly in constant pain. But his mind
is razor sharp.
It really is.
He's closing in on Gus Fring. He has this working theory that Gus, who is a pillar of the community, a friend of law enforcement, a massive booster for the DEA, is actually a major drug lord.
And nobody believes him.
Nobody. His boss doesn't believe him. The entire department thinks he's chasing ghosts or that the trauma from the shooting has made him paranoid.
So what does he do? He goes straight to the source. He visits Los Pollos Hermanos.
The Lion's Den. He goes right to the headquarters of the operation.
But he doesn't go alone. He takes Walter Jr. with him.
Which is absolutely fascinating and a little disturbing. He takes his teenage nephew to a ruthless drug lord's restaurant for a casual lunch.
That is so bold. Is he using Walter Jr. as a shield? Or just a prop?
It's tactical. He's using the guise of a casual lunch.
Mm-hmm.
You know, hey, just grabbing a bite with my nephew. It disarms Gus.
Right.
It makes Hank look like he's just there for the fried chicken. If he went in alone with a notepad and a scowl, Gus would be on high alert instantly. But with the teenager eating curly fries, it looks perfectly innocent.
But he manages to get something crucial while he's there.
The cup.
The cup. He manages to secure a standard paper soda cup that Gus Fring drank from.
Or at least handled.
How does he even pull that off? Because Gus is careful. Gus is meticulously careful.
It's a brilliant bit of social engineering by Hank. Gus comes over to the table to be polite, to ask how the meal is. He's playing the role of the friendly, hands-on owner.
Right.
Hank asks for a refill of his soda. Gus, being the gracious host, takes the cup to go refill it. But in the shuffle, or perhaps by grabbing a cup Gus had used or touched, Hank secures the evidence. It's sleight of hand.
This is such a classic detective move. It really reminds me of Columbo, playing the fool, playing the, oh, just one more thing guy, while actually being the smartest person in the room.
Exactly.
Despite everything, despite the PTSD, despite the physical limitations, Hank is actively gathering hard forensic evidence while looking like he's just enjoying a combo meal.
And this directly leads to the meeting with Stephen Gomez and AS Tech George Merkert. Hank calls them in. He lays it all out on the table.
This is the big reveal. He has the cup, he has the prints pulled from it, and he has a match.
The fingerprints on the cup from Los Pollos Hermanos match the fingerprints found in Gale Boetticher's apartment.
Boom. For you listening who might have forgotten, let's connect that specific dot. Gale Boetticher was the eccentric meth cook who was murdered at the end of season 3. The police found his apartment full of libertarian literature, vegan food, and unidentified fingerprints.
Exactly. And until now, those prints were just unidentified latents in a file. But now, Hank has a direct, undeniable match. He has connected the owner of a massive fast food chain to the apartment of a murdered meth cook.
There is no innocent explanation for that.
None. Why would a fast food CEO be hanging out in the apartment of a weird, reclusive, underground chemist?
It completely destroys Gus's narrative. He can't claim he's just a legitimate businessman anymore. He was there. It validates literally everything Hank has been saying.
But Hank goes even further in this meeting. He drops a name that completely changes the scope of the entire series. He isn't just looking at Gus anymore.
Madrigal Electromotive.
Exactly. Hank reveals that he was investigating this German company.
This is the parent company of Los Pollos Hermanos, right?
Yes. Los Pollos isn't just a local southwestern chain. It's a subsidiary of a massive, multinational German conglomerate.
Wow.
And Hank reveals that his initial investigation into Madrigal was abruptly stopped by an attorney.
Oh, interesting.
But the implication is massive.
Right.
This isn't just a local drug ring in New Mexico. This is a global corporate conspiracy.
It's huge. You have this massive German conglomerate, Madrigal, shielding this fast food chain in Albuquerque. Hank is connecting dots that nobody else even sees on the board. He's pulling a thread from a chicken restaurant that leads all the way to Europe.
From his bedroom.
He's uncovering international corporate crime from his bedroom while recovering from gunshot wounds.
And the walls are closing in on Gus. Think about it from Gus's perspective for a second. He can handle the cartel? Maybe.
Sure.
He can handle rival street gangs. He can handle erratic employees like Walt. But a relentless federal agent who has physical forensic evidence linking him to a murder scene.
That's different.
That is a different kind of threat entirely. It's an existential threat.
It really shifts the genre of the show. It becomes a high-stakes cat-and-mouse thriller. And Gus realizes the mouse has very sharp teeth. Speaking of threats, let's talk about the threat coming from inside the house. Or rather, inside the lab.
We have to talk about the assassination plot.
We do. Segment 3, the ricin returns, Chekhov's gun. Or rather, Chekhov's poison.
Walt is really feeling the heat. He knows Gus wants to replace him. He wants Gus gone. And he convinces Jesse to be the one to do it.
He manipulates Jesse. He uses Jesse's new position within the organization. Remember, Jesse has been getting closer to Mike and Gus. He's becoming a henchman, as the source puts it.
Okay.
He's riding along on pickups. He's providing backup. Walt sees this not as Jesse growing, but as an opportunity.
Use your access. That's the pitch. You can get close to him. I can't. You have to do this.
Exactly. So Walt concocts the ricin poison in the super lab. And they hide it. Where do they hide it?
In a cigarette.
A single cigarette.
They switch out the tobacco for a small glass vial of rice and they put it back in the pack, which is such a terrifying image. You have this incredibly potent weapon of mass destruction, basically hidden in something you routinely put in your mouth.
One mistake, one absent-minded mix-up, and you're dead.
So Jesse's carrying this death sentence in his pocket everywhere he goes. He's walking around with it. And he finally gets his chance. Mike Ehrmantraut takes Jesse to a sit-down.
This is a high-stakes meeting. It's not just a low-level drug deal. It's Gus Fring meeting directly with the cartel.
And the tension at this location with this cavernous industrial distribution center is palpable.
And Jesse is there to essentially make coffee.
Basically, he's the junior guy in the room. He's not a boss. He's told to make the coffee for the bosses while they wait.
And there it is, the opportunity. He has the poison in his pocket. He has the coffee pot. He could end it right there.
Just slip the ricin in the brew. Gus drinks it. He's dead in 36 hours, and it looks like natural causes.
The source says he actually contemplates it. He stands there, staring at the coffee maker. He fingers the cigarette pack in his pocket. He really thinks about poisoning it.
But he is interrupted before he can act. Mike calls him over, or the meeting suddenly starts.
It's one of those incredible sliding doors moments. If he hadn't been interrupted, the entire trajectory of the show changes. Gus dies, the cartel probably kills Jesse and Mike immediately, total chaos ensues. But let's talk about the meeting itself. The cartel pulls a massive power move here.
They send only one man. His name is Gaff.
One guy. For a sit-down with the biggest distributor in the entire Southwest.
It's an intentional insult, and it's a very clear message. Gus brought his team. He brought Mike. He brought Jesse. The cartel sent one messenger.
Wow.
And the man delivers an ultimatum to Gus. He basically says, surrender or else. He offers Gus a terrible, unacceptable deal.
And how does Gus handle it? Does he try to negotiate? Does he haggle?
Well, Gus was actually prepared to negotiate, according to the source material. He had an offer of $50 million ready to make the cartel problem go away.
$50 million?
$50 million. But when he sees this blatant disrespect, when he sees they only sent one messenger to threaten him in his own territory, he rejects the ultimatum entirely.
He stands his ground.
He does. It's icy cold. He looks the man dead in the eye and refuses. He just says no.
And as the cartel representative leaves, we get another moment of hesitation from Jesse.
Right. The source notes that Jesse contemplates shooting Gus as the cartel guy leaves. The situation is extremely volatile.
Right.
The cartel guy had actually sniped one of Gus's men earlier at the farm as a warning. There is a gun available. Jesse has a gun. Chaos is happening all around them. He could do it. He could end his Gus problem right there in the confusion.
But he doesn't. He actively decides not to pull the trigger.
Why do you think that is?
Fear. Loyalty. Pure confusion. Maybe he's just paralyzed by the sheer gravity of what he's about to do.
It's complex, but I think Mike's observation later in the episode tells us a lot. Mike tells Jesse that Gus is actually impressed by his loyalty.
Loyalty. That word just keeps coming up.
Over and over. Gus thinks Jesse didn't shoot because he's loyal to Gus. Gus thinks he's successfully winning Jesse over. He thinks he's turning Walt's student against him.
But Mike sees it differently.
Mike sees right through it. Mike adds a stinging caveat to that observation.
What does he say?
He tells Jesse that he thinks that loyalty is for the wrong guy.
Ooh, implying Walt.
Exactly. Mike is telling Jesse, you're loyal to Walter White, and that is a fatal mistake. Mike knows Walt is a ticking time bomb. He knows Walt is purely manipulative. He's trying to warn Jesse.
That is the central tragedy of Jesse Pinkman, isn't it? His loyalty is his best quality. He is fiercely, fiercely loyal.
He is.
But he gives it to people who completely manipulate him. He gives it to Walt, who eventually poisons a child to keep him in line. He gives it to Gus, who just uses him as a pawn against the cartel. He's a loyal soldier in an army of generals who literally do not care about him.
Which leads us directly to the emotional core of this entire episode, the scene that gives the episode its title. This is where all that pressure, all that manipulation finally cracks him open.
Segment 4, the title track, Problem Dog.
This is the scene that everyone remembers. Jesse returns to his Narcotics Anonymous group.
Now, let's be honest about what Jesse has actually been doing there up to this point. He hasn't been going for recovery.
No.
He's been going there with his friends Badger and Skinny Pete to sell meth to recovering addicts, which is... it's just despicable.
It really is.
It's one of the darkest, most cynical things Jesse does in the entire series.
It's rock-bottom behavior. It's totally predatory. He's preying on people actively trying to get better.
But in this specific session, something breaks in him. He discreetly shares his feelings, but he speaks in a very specific code.
He talks about a dog.
He tells the group he put down a problem dog.
But we know, and you listening know, he isn't talking about a canine. He's talking about Gale Boetticher.
The innocent chemist.
The innocent chemist he shot in the face at the end of season 3 just to save Walt's life.
Right. He says the dog did nothing wrong. It wasn't sick. It wasn't biting anyone. But he had to do it. It's a confession of murder, thinly veiled as a story about a pet.
And he describes the dog looking at him. That's the part that clearly haunts him. The way Gale looked at him right before he pulled the trigger.
And how does the group react to this story, the group leader specifically?
The group leader does what group leaders in those settings are trained to do. He offers absolution. He tells Jesse, don't judge yourself. He tries to rationalize it for him.
Right.
He says, you did what you had to do. Sometimes we have to make hard choices.
And that is exactly the wrong thing to say to Jesse Pinkman in that exact moment. That is the match in the powder keg.
It triggers an absolute explosion.
Jesse completely rejects the forgiveness. He snaps.
He doesn't want to be told it's okay. He stands up. He gets right in their faces. He reveals everything. Well, not the murder, but the meth. He tells them he's been using the sacred space of the group as a market to peddle meth.
He just throws it in their faces. I made you my customers. I sat here and listened to your tragic stories just so I could figure out who was weak enough to sell to.
He wants to be judged. He genuinely believes he deserves punishment.
He's begging for it.
He is begging for someone to look at him and tell him he's a bad person.
Right.
Because he feels like a bad person.
Right.
He can't live with the crushing guilt of murder if everyone keeps telling him, oh, it's okay, forgive yourself. He needs the moral universe to make sense again. And in a sensible universe, he should be punished for what he did to Gale.
And he finally gets it. The group leader finally turns on him. The source says the group leader finally expresses disapproval.
That silence in the room must have been deafening. The group leader realizes he's been played. He looks at Jesse with pure disgust.
And weirdly, that is exactly what Jesse wanted.
It is.
Jesse burns that bridge to the ground because he can't stand the hypocrisy of being forgiven for something he considers totally unforgivable.
We really have to talk about the performance here. The source mentions the critical reception specifically highlighting this one scene.
Yes. IGN called Aaron Paul's acting in the scene the performance of the series.
The series. That is incredibly high praise considering he is sharing the screen every week with Bryan Cranston, who won 4 Emmys for playing Walt.
It's well-deserved, though. It is raw, it is ugly, and it is totally pivotal. Aaron Paul does this thing where his voice cracks, his eyes swell up. You can physically feel the self-hatred radiating off him.
It's visceral.
This is the moment Jesse officially stops pretending he's okay with any of this. He is a completely broken man. He is screaming into the void, basically asking for consequences.
It's interesting to look at how the critics viewed this episode as a whole, because when you have a powerhouse scene like that, you expect the episode to be universally considered legendary.
Right. But looking at the stats in the source material, it's a bit of a mixed bag historically.
Let's look at segment 5, critical reception. The numbers are incredibly strong from the time of airing.
IGN gave it a 9.5 out of 10. That is nearly perfect. That is masterpiece territory for television.
TV Fanatic gave it a 4.5 out of 5.
The AV Club gave it an A-.
So universally acclaimed at the time. Critics uniformly cited the acting, especially Aaron Paul, and the incredibly high tension. They loved the character work.
But there is a discrepancy. And I really love digging into things like this. In 2019, The Ringer, a major pop culture website, did a definitive ranking of all Breaking Bad episodes.
All 62 of them.
And where did Problem Dog land on that list?
51st.
51st out of 62. That is bottom tier. That is comfortably in the bottom 20% of the entire show.
It is really surprising. A 9.5 at the time it aired, but ranks so low years later.
So how do we explain that massive gap? How does an episode go from nearly perfect in the moment to largely forgettable in the retrospective rankings?
I think it comes down to the fundamental nature of the episode. It is a setup episode.
Right.
It's moving pieces on the chessboard. It's moving Hank closer to Gus. It's moving Jesse closer to the edge. It's moving the money to the car wash. It's arranging the furniture for the massive finale.
It doesn't have the huge explosive payoff like Face Off, which is the season 4 finale, or Ozymandias in the final season. It doesn't have a major character death, well, except for the Challenger.
Exactly. When you look back at the series as a whole, the episodes with the explosions, other than the car and the major deaths, tend to naturally rank higher in our memory. Problem Dog is a deeply psychological episode. It does all the heavy lifting so the later episodes can actually fly.
It's the bridge. And sometimes people forget the bridge when they're looking at the destination, but if the bridge wasn't there, you'd never get across.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Without this episode, Jesse's arc just doesn't make any sense. If he doesn't break down here in the NA meeting, his later actions don't work.
Right.
Hank's discovery doesn't happen without the soda cup. This episode provides the structural integrity of the entire season. If you skip this, the rest just falls apart.
So what does this all mean for us? Let's just recap what we've learned today. It has been a really dense hour.
We've got Walt blowing up $52,000 worth of his own ego in a parking lot just because he felt small. He turned a midlife crisis car into a fireball.
We've got Skyler staring at a $7 million laundering headache that she genuinely doesn't know how to solve, realizing the money is a trap, not a blessing.
We've got Hank Schrader defying every odd, getting the exact fingerprints that link Gus Fring to a murder.
Right.
Blowing the case wide open using nothing but a paper cup and his own gut instinct.
And we've got Jesse Pinkman, the problem dog himself, confessing his soul in a church basement, aggressively rejecting forgiveness because the guilt is the only thing that feels real to him anymore.
It is a dense, heavy hour of television. It explores the true costs of crime, financial, legal, and deeply psychological.
It really is. Now, before we sign off, I want to leave you listening with a thought. You mentioned Mike's line about loyalty earlier.
You're loyal to the wrong guy.
As we look at these characters, Walt's utter selfishness, Gus's cold calculation, Jesse's crushing guilt, it really raises a profound question.
It does. Who actually deserves loyalty in this world?
Is Jesse the problem dog because he bites? Or is he the problem dog because he is the only one in this entire criminal underworld who actually still feels bad about biting?
Is the conscience the actual problem?
Exactly. Is his humanity the defect here?
In their specific world, yes.
Yes.
Having a conscience makes you a massive liability. It makes you weak. It makes you a problem dog. In a world entirely populated by wolves, the dog that feels bad about killing is the one that inevitably gets put down.
That is a chilling thought to end on. If you have the time, go back and watch that NA scene again with all of this context in mind. Really watch Aaron Paul's face. It is a total masterclass in regret.
It absolutely is.
Thank you for taking this deep dive with us today. We will catch you on the next one.
Goodbye.
End of transmission.